Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Ramon Ray, as he refers to himself, Lugo III. The importance of innovative manufacturing to the state of Ohio and a role for NASA Glenn in an Ohio manufacturing revolution. As a speech title, that is pretty amazing. Mr. Lugo began his career at NASA in 1975 as a co-op education student. His first assignment was in the construction and modifications branch as an engineer, and he was instrumental in the shuttle missions. Mr. Lugo has obviously proven his leadership at accomplishing the mission, and we are thrilled to introduce that the mission is now manufacturing. We're absolutely thrilled that you're here. Thank you.
So let me thank Mary Kay for inviting us to come down here and participate in this very interesting event. Probably a lot of you are wondering what's a government guy doing down here speaking about manufacturing, because the government typically doesn't manufacture very much. We're a consumer of manufactured products. And that's really the reason we're down here, because we need a strong, vibrant manufacturing capability in this country if we want to continue to do the exploration of the universe, build the best airplanes in the world, and continue to explore the deep ends of space. So manufacturing is important to NASA, and hopefully the comments I'm going to make this morning will be relevant and hopefully engage in a dialogue between not only us, but hopefully a number of. So here's what I'm going to talk about this morning. It's kind of a typical NASA briefing, so I'm not going to bore you with reading the agenda. So as far as background, I think everybody knows that the President has made manufacturing and economic growth a priority. And as you can see from this chart, the President is personally behind this manufacturing initiative. And so there's a number of things that are going on within the federal government that support manufacturing in this country. And again, I'm not going to read the chart to you, but this is really as background. So from a state of Ohio perspective, manufacturing accounts for nearly 16% of the total output in the state, employing about 12.3% of the workforce. We had $73.2 billion of economic activity from that manufacturing work. Manufacturing compensation is obviously a little higher than other forms of work in the state, and it's just over 59% higher than other non-farm income. Manufacturing accounts for 95% of Ohio's exports, so it's definitely critical to the economy here in Ohio. And then it supports 26% of Ohio's manufacturing jobs, and the U.S. average is just over 22%. So let's see, am I getting, okay, good. So let me tell you a little bit about our vision and our mission. Obviously, NASA is looking to explore the reaches of space, but really what we're trying to do is bring everybody along for the ride to some extent. And so what we're doing, while it can be viewed as pure science and pure research, it's really to benefit humans here on Earth. I think Charlie Bolden said it yesterday, or the day before yesterday in the budget rollout, that we don't spend a single dollar in space. It's all spent here on Earth. So we're really, the investments we're making, while we're going into space, we're developing the next generation of aircraft capabilities. Everything we do is actually to benefit humans here on the Earth. And the NASA mission is to drive advances in science, technology, exploration, education. STEM education is a significant effort within the agency. And mostly, in addition to trying to drive advances in science, everything we do is to protect the Earth, and we do have this role of planetary protection that, if you're interested in, we could discuss after I'm done with my talk. So now the NASA Glenn mission is that we drive research and technology to advance aviation, and if you didn't know this, NASA Glenn was one of the original NASA research centers. It was under a previous construct prior to the Space Act of 1958. We were known as the National, let me make sure I tell you this, the National Aeronautics, it was NACA, let me think, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, I'm sorry, NACA, National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. Glenn Research Center is one of three NACA centers, Langley Research Center in Virginia being the original NACA center, Ames Research Center at Moffett Field in California, and then Glenn Research Center. So that's really where the federal government's civil aviation efforts have been focused, you know, since back in the time of basically World War II, when Glenn Research Center was solving some really difficult aviation problems. So we've got 9 NASA centers and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and as you can see, we're the only one located in the Midwest. 50 miles to our west in Sandusky, we have the Plumbrook Station facility, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a minute. So the Glenn Research Center has 2 campuses. The Lewis Field campus, which is located right next to the Hopkins airport, is 350 acres, and we employ about 3,300 employees, roughly equal numbers of civil servants and contractors. And then our western campus in Sandusky, Ohio, Plumbrook Station, home of the Space Power Facility, which is the world's most capable space environmental test facility. And if you've never been out there, it's an incredible facility. We've just spent over $125 million updating that capability to be able to test the Orion space capsule that will be used to take humans beyond low Earth orbit. So, incredible facility out there. This is my management team, very diverse group of people. What I would point out is that we are fairly typical as a government organization, but at Glenn Research Center we have a very unique portfolio of work. We do not only aviation work, but we do space science work, and some basic research, and we'll talk a little more about that. So here's our strategic plan. We have 5 goals in our strategic plan, the first of which is to provide world-class research and technology that revolutionizes aeronautics and space. The second one being to advance space missions and aeronautics by leveraging our core competencies, and we'll talk about that in a minute, to deliver concept through basically flight systems. And that's, our researchers typically start with very low-level ideas. We call it low technology readiness level ideas. And these are basically research projects that are to prove the basic physics of a capability. And then we advance those technologies to what we call TRL level 6, which is testing those technologies in a relevant environment. And that can either be through a ground test or through a space test or through an aircraft test. So that's what that goal means. Then we want to deliver program project management excellence. Obviously, as taxpayers, I think most people would acknowledge that you would like us to deliver technology on cost, on schedule, and meeting all the technical requirements. So we work very diligently at that. We need an institution that's right-sized and efficient. So we tend to work not only our technical problems very diligently, but look at ways that we can improve our institutional capabilities so we can continue to fund the valuable research we do. And then finally, we also are working very diligently to be good partners, not only here in Northeast Ohio, but across the nation. And we'll talk some more about that here in a minute.